Hi, I'm Michael Benedict G. Apapo, BS Ed English Second Year, Section 1. ELMC 107, Monday to Saturday, 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. Types of bilingual education, weak forms and strong forms. Bilingual education programs can be categorized into weak and strong forms based on their educational goals and societal aims and language outcomes. Here, we expound on each type of bilingual education listed in the provided tables, along with examples to illustrate each type. First, weak forms of bilingual education. Number one, submersion, structured immersion. Typical students, language minority. Languages used in the classroom, majority language. Educational or societal aim, assimilation. Language outcome, monolingualism. An example for this submersion structured immersion is a student who speaks Spanish at home is placed in all English classroom without additional support. The goal is to assimilate the student into the English-speaking culture, often resulting in the student losing proficiency in their home language. Number two, submersion with withdrawal classes or sheltered English. Typical students, language minority. Languages used in classroom, majority language with pull-out L2 lessons, educational or societal aim, assimilation, language outcome, monolingualism. An example for this, number two, submersion with withdrawal classes or sheltered English. A Spanish speaking student attend regular classes taught in English but is pulled out for a few hours in a week to receive specialized English instruction. I'm sorry. Okay, number three, segregationist. Typical students, language minority, languages used in the classroom, minority language, forced, no choice, educational or societal aim, apartheid, language outcome, monolingualism. Example for segregationist. In some regions, minority language speakers are segregated into separate schools where they are taught exclusively in their minority language without learning the majority language, reinforcing social divisions. Now, number four, transitional. Typical students, again, language minority, languages used in the classroom moves from minority to majority language. Educational or societal aim, assimilation, language outcome, relative monolingualism. Example, a child who speaks Mandarin at home starts school with some instruction in Mandarin but gradually transitions to all English instruction over a few years with the goal of full integration into the English speaking community. Number five, mainstream with foreign language teaching. Typical students, language majority. Languages used in the classroom, majority language with L2 or FL's lessons. Educational or societal aim, limited enrichment. Language outcome, limited bilingualism. An example, sorry, example, in the United States, an English speaking student might take Spanish or French classes a few times a week, but the primary language of instruction remains English. Last, separatist. Number six, separatist. Typical students, language minority, languages used in the classroom, minority language out of choice. Educational societal aim, detachment or autonomy. Language outcome, limited bilingualism. Example, a community of immigrants from a specific country may establish their own schools where instructions is primarily in their native language, with limited instruction in the majority language. None we're done with that of the weak forms of bilingual education. Let's move on to strong forms of bilingual education. First, number one, immersion. Typical students, language majority, languages used in the classroom, bilingual with initial emphasis on L2. Educational or societal aim, pluralism or enrichment. Language outcome, bilingualism or biliteracy. An example, an English-speaking student is placed in a French immersion program where French is a primary language of instruction in the early years, with the goal of becoming fluent in both languages. Now, in number two, maintenance or heritage language. No, excuse me. Typical students, language minority, languages used in the classroom, sorry, bilingual with emphasis on L1, educational or societal aim, maintenance slash pluralism slash enrichment. Language outcome, bilingualism and biliteracy. An example for this for maintenance or heritage language is a student who speaks Spanish at home continues to receive instruction in Spanish at his school while also learning English, maintaining and developing proficiency in both languages. Number three, two ways or dual language. Typical students, mixed language, majority or minority. Languages used in the classroom, minority and majority. Educational or societal aim, maintenance, pluralism, enrichment. Language outcome, bilingualism and biliteracy. An example for this is a classroom with both English speaking and Spanish speaking students, where instruction is divided between English and Spanish, allowing both groups to become bilingual and biliterate. Last, number four, mainstream bilingual. Typical students, language majority, languages used in the classroom, two majority languages, educational, societal aim, maintenance, pluralism, enrichment. Example, In a country like Canada, where both English and French are official languages, students might receive instructions in both languages equally throughout their education, promoting bilingualism in the population. Therefore, understanding the different types of bilingual education is crucial for educators, policymakers, and parents to make informed decisions that align with their educational goals and societal values. Weak forms tend to pri- weak forms tend to prioritize assimilation and monolingualism, often to often at the expense of minority languages and cultures, while strong forms promote bilingualism, biliteracy, and cultural pluralism. Each approach has its place, but the choice of program should consider the long-term linguistic and cultural benefits for students and society.